Hello, I'm Tom McCaslin. I am the City of Houston's Housing Director, and I'm here because Jeff said I should show up because you guys are going to be doing some terrific stuff to make our lives easier. So thanks so much for everything you did.
Howdy, my name's Phil. I also work for cPanel. I'm the Director of Development, and I'm pretty much just here as a longtime sponsor and supporter of the Hackathon. Every year, you guys are making amazing stuff, and every year I'm just super excited to see what you're going to do next. So thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Scott Lynch. I'm a software developer at Two Sigma Investments. Two Sigma Investments has sponsored the Houston Hackathon for 2 or 3 years now, and we're, as our Houston presence has grown, we're trying to do more to, do community outreach, specifically in technology.
Um, Everybody give it up for Jeff and Niraj. This is amazing. Is this 6th year? Okay. My name is Emily Keaton, and I am the head of mergers and acquisitions for WeWork out of New York, but I'm a proud Houstonian, co-founder of Station Houston, which is how I met him. And today, we are super excited to announce that WeWork is going to give a $1,000 credit to the winning team. So I'm 3 winning teams, that's right. So I'm super excited about that.
Yes, thank you. Awesome. And how about you keep a round of applause going for Mayor Sylvester Turner here. All right. Mayor, we're going to put you right on the spot, Mayor. How are you? Thank you for being here.
Oh,
Appreciate
my pleasure,
it.
my pleasure.
Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, let me just say this.
Sure.
Thank you all for having me. Good what? Morning, afternoon, good afternoon. Hey, it's been non-stop. And let me start off at the very beginning by extending my regrets for not being able to stay very long this time. This is an incredible day, but there's the funeral for one of the students that was killed at Santa Fe, and that program is starting at 2 o'clock today. So my apologies for not being able to stay. But I did want to come, and look, I'm just already impressed with the cannon and what's taking place. Give it up to all of the Philly with the cannon, you know. Look, this place is sitting on like 30 acres, and I'm looking outside at the construction of phase 1. And then I'm being told there are already, 60 to 70 companies that have already kind of partnered or co-locating in this space. So just an exciting time for the city of Houston. Hey, Tom, you know, Tom is my director of housing community development, and Jesse Bounds is over the mayor's office of innovation and technology, and so just an exciting time. Look, let me just say, last year when I was here, there was one project from the hackathon, Adopted Drainage Project, and we launched that. Adopted Drainage Project. We launched. Are they here? Are they? Oh, okay. We launched that about a couple of months ago. There are now already over 1,000 people that have agreed to adopt their drainage and clean out to help us out. In that end, we were spending about $14 million a year on that. So appreciate that. And there are a number of other things that helped us out during Hurricane Harvey and afterwards. ReportYourHours.com. That's one of them, and through that, already 550,000 hours have been reported, which is the equivalent of about $5 million that we can use to offset our FEMA costs. So I want to thank that. I want to thank them. I mean, there are a number of things that come directly out of Hackathon. And then, of course, the emphasis for the city of Houston now is on startups, technology, and innovation. And I'm just looking at some amazing folk that are in the room. And look, we're operating at a sprint pace. We cannot afford to jog, or just walk, because we're in a catch-up mode in the city of Houston. And quite frankly, people like myself want to push the pace. And you all help us to push the pace, because we don't want to lose any of these young, bright minds that exist in the city of Houston. I don't want you going any other place. I don't want you heading to Boston or Chicago or Silicon Valley. You don't want to go there anyway. But at the same time, there are things that we need to do, and by the Canon is one that's helping to keep all this nice talent right here in the city of Houston. So I'm just excited about the future in the city, and I'm excited about you, and I can't wait to sit down for all of those who are going to be the champions of the hackathon and come by City Hall and kind of showcase what you are going to display on today. So thank you for having me, and very much appreciate it, okay?
Appreciate it so much. Hey, we want to do a selfie with the whole team.
Let me also thank Jeff. I mean, Jeff has given leadership for this for the past six years. So come on, give it up. Yeah, give it up to all these individuals. Thank you, man. Very, very much appreciate it.
Very much appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. We want to do a selfie with the whole crew, if that's okay. And then we'll let you go. Yeah. All right.
We're going to turn you around. We need everybody to smile. You want to stand up or stay?
Whatever you guys want to do. Make some noise. Yeah.
No kissy faces.
Get all the pictures. Yeah.
Everybody wave. Give us an H for hackathon. Okay, the white phone, silver phone. And now look at the other H-Town.
One more.
Yeah, I do want to thank Lawson. I want to call him out personally. Let's thank this guy with the cannon, and just some exciting, amazing things going to happen on these grounds. Lawson, I look forward to working very closely with you, on that end. And then for those, Jeff and others who have been pushing us, open up our government, be more transparent, provide that portal so you can get. There's a lot of information that exists in this city, so we want to get all of that out. So thank you all so very much, and push us to do even more. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. We're about to get started. Before we get started, I want to give Lawson the mic here to tell you a little bit about the cannon and what this space is and what it's going to become.
Thanks, and thank you, Jeff and team, and Mayor Turner. Hey, Tom. Thanks for being here. This is the reason that the cannon exists. I was born and raised in Houston, and I love this city, and that's why we want to be here. We want to be making Houston bigger, stronger, faster, cooler, and this is the good stuff. I'm really excited to judge today, and it's great to have you guys all out here. We are in the waiting room. This 20,000 square foot space is the interim space before we all graduate into this big building that we're creating. As far as I know, will be the biggest co-working space in the world on the biggest startup campus in the world. We're on 33 acres, and it's going to be really, really special and awesome to have based in Houston, and it's going to get a lot of attention outside of the city, and it's for Houston, by Houston, and this is the kind of stuff we want to be doing all the time. So thank you guys for being here.
Thanks so much, Lawson. Appreciate it. All right, we ready to get started with some presentations? All right, okay. So here's a couple of things to know. Number one, we're going to go in order on this screen so you can kind of see when you're going to start to come up. Number two, when you talk into the mic, talk into the mic, not over the mic. It'll help everybody hear, even if it sounds like you're just very, very loud because you're standing next to the speaker. People in the back will be able to hear you. And yeah, we have 3 minutes. So who wants to be the timekeeper? All right, we've got a timekeeper. You have 3 minutes. When you've got a minute left, our timekeeper is going to raise his hand and get your attention just to give you some idea about how much longer you have. We're not going to be super strict. This is a chill place. We want to be nice. So if you go a little bit over, that's okay. If you go a lot over, then we're just going to get the hook and pull you off the stage. I also wanted to point out that something that I really love about the hackathon is that it really showcases how diverse our technology community is. We have people of all genders, all colors, all ages here today, all united around the idea that technology can improve our lives here in Houston. And I think that's very affirming, and it counters the narrative about technology communities across the country. And it really does show that Houston is the most diverse city in the nation. So I'm really psyched to get started here. And we're gonna kick this off with M4, Mo Moen, Mo Money. All right, how about a round of applause for Ed and team here?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ed Pettit, and we are Team M4, Mo and Mo Money. Many of you may not know, but the City of Houston has a neighborhood mow-down program that reimburses civic groups for mowing overgrown vacant lots. So not only is there not a lot of awareness about this program, there's also no platform to facilitate the onboarding, verification, and payout processes, so it's very tedious. This heat map shows the #1 citizen complaint in Houston through 311, which is nuisance on property cases, and a majority of those are from overgrown, weeded lots. This is an example of one such lot in the 3rd Ward, just a couple blocks from the newly renovated Emancipation Park. And this is how the lot looks like today. You can see the lots that are maintained look nice and tidy. The one that's not maintained, it attracts illegal dumping. And not only that, but it's used as cover for illicit activity like drug dealing and prostitution. So with the whole broken window theory, if you can cut down the lot, you can also get a lot of other issues resolved as well. Our solution is an online mobile platform called M4. The way it works is that a user will log in and claim a lot from the active listings. An admin from the Department of Neighborhoods Inspections Division will approve the claim and assess the lot. The user, the resident, will then mow the lot, and they can even borrow equipment on loan from Keep Houston Beautiful, so they don't even need to provide their own equipment. They'll then submit their proof of work and invoice, and all of this is digital. They'll get paid out as well through the platform. So let's show you how this works. This is our working front end. A new user will go to register, and this is all the same information that the city requires through their current application process, but it's all digitized and it's all automatic. Currently, it takes about 10 days to get registered as a user. We think we can do this with same-day verifications, so it'll save the city a lot of time. You can put in an address and then search for that address, and if it's available, they can claim it. Once they mow the lot, they can fill out the information for the invoice, and they can even upload a before and after photo, and the city can use that to approve their information. And so back to the presentation. Whoops. You'll see that you even have a screen and dashboard that will show your neighborhood and will give you status updates for all the lots, whether they're available, in progress of being mowed, completed, and when the city's verified them. You'll also have a payout screen. So for example, you can look for the 3rd Ward neighborhood and see how much the civic groups have raised through the mow-down program, which pays these civic groups and reimburses them. And you can also compare between the different neighborhoods, and it can induce a kind of competition to get more lots mowed. Not only does it increase money for the civic groups and nonprofits, it also saves the city money. It costs about $50 per lot for the civic group to address the issue versus $500 for a private contractor. This is our 2-year timeline from proof of concept through building partnerships with COH. By the end of the first year, we want a beta launch with the 5 complete communities. We believe this is an early win for the Mayor's Complete Communities program. And through the year 2, we want to ramp up to 100 users, 500 lots mowed per month, and eventually expand this to additional cities and addressing additional issues like illegal dumping and graffiti removal. This is our team. We have all the skills from project management and community organize all the way through full stack development, GIS, and graphic design, and we can hit the ground running tomorrow to make this reality. Thank you.
That was awesome. All right. Up next, we have, let me get there. Hang on one second. Up next, we have Snap. Is Snap in the house? Randy! Give it up for Randy.
Sure, if you want to slide those down. And, well, go back up. So, inspiration, hello. Inspiration is basically, I can't read that. So, inspiration is that most people don't even know that there are super neighborhoods, that everybody in the city of Houston belongs to a super neighborhood. So what the app does is identifies the resident's super neighborhood by they're putting in the ad, and how I built it is with some Xcode and some Swift, and challenges are really no challenges. If this presentation works, yep, I'm proud of that. What's next for SNAP is interacting with the super neighborhoods. First, the four current complete communities, then the rest as the mayor decides to build out the rest of the complete communities. Now, if you'll click on the iCloud there. And starting slideshow. And so SNAP, somebody stole my last P. That's actually Super Neighborhood app. And if on this computer, Jeff, you will go up or down arrow. There we go. And so the Xcode, just build a little search to go out and find the super neighborhood that you're in. Next. And that's my home. That's our Houston Super Neighborhood Facebook page. So, well, don't go so fast. So some of the super neighborhoods have web pages. Some have nothing. Some have Facebook pages. And the problem is that the different communities, go ahead to the next one, have really not gotten the input that they would like to have to the Complete Communities program. Basically because people work different shifts, different hours, different times. The city of Houston works during set hours, and the city of Houston only has so many people. So they basically need to have time to sleep, eat, the city of Houston people. And the people who are the residents need to be able to go forward and to get that information into the Complete Communities process. So then that's the draft for the Super Communities process. And what's showing right now is the bit that's being done for loose dogs and trying to solve the loose dogs problem by spay and neuter and collecting dogs and adopting them out. And that just needs a lot more of that, and then a lot more input from the actual residents as to what a resident wants the city to have done in this Complete Communities process.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you so much, Randy. That was awesome. All right. Up next, we have, let me dig this back here. I'm gonna do this just to make sure we have it. Up next, we have NIMBY 7 project. Is the NIMBY 7 project in town? All right. We got a big team. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I love it. First hackathon.
Thank you. First hackathon. Feel sick right now, a little nervous, but that's okay. Okay. So, Raj, you're gonna do the. Okay, so this month is National Foster Care Awareness Month. Why this is so important is most foster children in America have been severely exploited. I came to Texas 4 years ago because I wanted to show how children in the foster care system were being sex trafficked. NIMBY is a movement that we've been doing for the last 18 years to track nationally how foster children are being sex trafficked. We came here 4 years ago because over 77% of children in the foster care system in the state of Texas are being sex trafficked. What's more alarming is that the state actually doesn't know how many children are in the foster care system and how many have gone missing, which I can tell you are hundreds of thousands of children who have been sex trafficked and sexually exploited. District Judge Janice Jack ruled this in 2016, ordered that the state reallocate the budget and change. And despite reports and awareness of, when I tell you that these kids are sleeping on CPS floors, they are going to juvenile jails because there is not enough beds. They are being raped 60 times a day with sex trafficking. It's a $150 billion industry, yet they still have done nothing. So we met with state senators and state reps, and we talked to them. Not one of them knew how many kids were in foster care. We have 12,000, 18,000, and 30,000. we found this to be extremely alarming. The Higher Education Committee, they couldn't even tell them how many children were in each grade. So our call to action is we need to track these kids. We need to track these kids because we need to find out how many are missing and we need to protect them. We need to hold the system accountable for these children that are missing and find out the resources that they need so that this does not happen. Third, we need to understand why a $1.9 billion budget, only $900 million is actually being used for children when there are not nearly enough beds, when there is not nearly enough adequate service, and there's only a 5% success rate in the foster care system. We also wanted to ask, how do you know where the $1.9 billion come from if you do not know how many children there are? Because according to how you get funded by CPS is according to how many children you actually have. So how tech will help? Technology will really help us because we are developing a website where we can actually track all the children in the foster care system, track the caseworkers, the law guardians, and the social workers. So we'll know exactly how many cases each have, what has been done, and we'll be able to study data and trends on actually locations that they have been missing to also identify trafficking rings, caseworkers, just so many resources. We have a database and a form where everyone can fill out, and then we created an app so that in real time caseworkers and police, when they find foster children who have gone missing and been exploited, can instantaneously interact with us, and we will let the National Exploited for Missing Children help. We just really, it's our responsibility to protect children. This is the United States of America. If we don't know that they exist, how does anyone else? So I'm just begging you guys, this is such an alarming number, and we really have to fight for our kids. And I really want to thank you guys for making this happen, and all these incredible people up here. 7 stands for the average lifespan of a human trafficking victim will only last 7 years. That's how brutal it is, and they'll be raped up to 60 times a day. So, thank you.
That's so messed up. Thank you all so much. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Up next, we have allergies. Allergies. I got allergies. No. All right.
All right. Hey, y'all. We're the allergies team. So if you're anything like me, this season has been one of the worst allergy seasons that I've ever experienced. Second only to Las Vegas here. But yeah, show of hands, who has had bad allergies this week? Yeah, that's about half. That sounds about right. So you might be aware that there's a Houston Health Department page that gives you a nice little breakdown of different allergens, and if you know what you're allergic to, it's really useful. But so we kind of wanted to improve upon that. So why should you care about allergies? So there's about 50% of people are affected by seasonal allergies, hay fever. People with asthma can actually die from an asthmatic attack caused by allergies. There's a associated GDP loss of about $2 billion estimated. And there's some other benefits that we can provide, like letting people know when to take their medicine, or when to even keep their car in the garage. So the static website, the Houston Health Department website, it's kind of hard to reason about some of those numbers. They're just raw data. So that's why we created allergies. It gives you a breakdown, so like a daily summary of the different types of pollen and mold spores, and a 5-day graph of historical data. So you can actually go and see, like, if you don't know what you're allergic to, hey, maybe I felt kind of bad on Wednesday, so I look at this and I'm like, maybe I'm actually allergic to sage. It kind of lets you, if you know what you're allergic to, it lets you select just the things that you care about, and as well as set a threshold for notifications. So you can set up notifications as well as give feedback to how you're feeling to help us make our notifications better. So there's some limitations to this. The page is only updated on weekends or on weekdays, no weekends, no holidays at all. The data is super location sensitive, but there's only one sensor in the Houston area and it's manually collected from. So the future and the impact that we kind of want this to have is to maybe increase community awareness about pollen allergies, and maybe help people get more funding for more sensors and prediction research, which would be a great thing to add in this app so that we could give people more timely updates and more based on their needs, and maybe even guess what you're allergic to based on your feedback. So that's us. We're Allergies. Go to allergies.me to check it out.
Thanks, Cameron. That was awesome, man. All right. Up next, we have child care licensing violations in Harris County. Child care licensing violations in Harris County. It's a mouthful. All right. You're welcome. And is that the right one? I know you said, oh, you got it.
Yeah. Hello. Okay, perfect. All right, fantastic. There's a good chance that some of us in this room are going to have children in the future, maybe already have children. And one of the most important things in a parent's mind is to really understand where they can get quality childcare access. But where exactly are these quality childcare centers located in Houston? And how can our city planners limit the inequality and increase the access to quality care in Houston? My name is Jennifer, and I'm here today with my colleagues Alice, Sean, Justin, and Shriku, and we'll kind of talk about our findings today. So using the data from the Department of Family and Protective Services, we wanted to understand exactly how quality child care centers are distributed throughout the Houston area. For our key activities for this project, we analyzed the data that we got, and then we also created a visual map of where all of the child care centers are located and the violations that occur. And we also wanted to display this map onto a website and application. From our data analysis, we found that a lot of child care centers in the Harris County have at least one high deficiency. But through further research and analysis, we found that a lot of the high violations include things like paperwork, not fulfilling enough paperwork, or training for their employees. And we wanted to further look into that. We have here a map of all of the Harris County areas and where the zip codes where there's at least one high deficiency violation, and this is actually spread out through the Harris County district. And now I'll pass it on to Sean and Justin. To explain their map. Yeah. Oh. Oh no.
This might be a Safari issue. Can we open up Chrome real quick?
Safari is a far superior browser from a memory management standpoint. Chrome is full of memory leaks. Oh. Yes, you better Oh, it's a Safari issue.
we made an application with a map, as you can see.
Okay, now the maps are loading, yeah.
That might just be like a flex thing, but trust me, the map is there when it is running.
Tell us about the map.
It displays all of the locations, or the childcare like the registered childcare locations, and you can easily filter those locations based on type or ages provided, and you can also easily check out. Oh, that's the old version. Was it 3?
Yeah, you have to do, no, hyphen. One more hyphen.
Get it.
Just keep talking.
Yeah, so you can also view the violations for those sites in a very easily accessible manner. So just click one of these random guys, and we can see all the violations pertaining to that location. It was honestly quite eye-opening seeing how bad foster care is, just the types of violations, but parents can easily search up locations like close to where they live and make more informed decisions about where they want to send their children.
And the next one is an iOS app that shows, the map shows at least a childcare center with at least one deficiency, high deficiency. It's around 25 miles in and around. And if you click on the annotation, it gives the address, and then it gives what is the deficiency they have. Some of them, and this is in and around around 25 miles near you. Oh, something. Yeah, here. And that is an iOS app. And I don't want to show exactly what is the name of the childcare, but if you click on the map, that shows that. And that is, and I'll give her.
Okay, thank you. All right, get back to that. All right. So, all right, thank you. So in terms of the next steps that we will be taking on for this project, we want to recategorize what it actually means to be a high deficiency violation child care center. A child care center with a high deficiency violation. And in addition, we'd also like to take a look at some of the demographic data that we collect and analyze it, where exactly, what zip codes have high deficiency, and does that correlate with any type of demographic socioeconomic status. And finally, we want to, through this data analysis, we want to ensure that all families have equal access to childcare that meets the basic needs of our Houston community. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Sorry for the technical issues. You guys did great. Sometimes technical issues happen and you just got to roll with it. That's super classy and professional, y'all. You did a great job. Yeah, second round of applause. It's not easy to troubleshoot technical issues on the fly. All right. We'll close this. We'll close this. All right. Up next, we have Politic. Am I saying that right? I'm saying it how it's spelled. Come on up here, Politic. Politic. Take your time. It's cool. Just kidding.
Hey guys, we're not Politic. I'm Michael, this is Shuram, and this is Alex. All right, so our app basically takes in the political information about the representatives in your area in Congress, and we take it from different sources and basically aggregate them into an app and try to display them in a user-friendly manner so it's more accessible for people to sort of get into voting and know exactly what the representatives are doing. So some of the features that we have, or some of the things that we use, are the Google Civic API to sort of get the representatives from your location and their contact information. And then we have a web scraper to sort of get the information about that representative and sort of their activities in Congress and what issues they're supporting and what party they're in. So these are some screenshots of our app. Oh, wait. Sorry. These are some screenshots of our app. And as you can see here, these are the lists of the representatives and also the president and vice president for your area. And here we have Ted Cruz, and we can see that there's a list of his sponsored bills recently that he's sponsored or sort of spearheaded in Congress. And we can also see the committees that he's in, sort of like the sort of issues that he's just proposing. And also we can see here which issues does he normally sponsor bills in or propose bills in. Yep.
And so the biggest problems we wanted to address are maybe how hard it is to get the information of the politicians, excuse me, and we wanted to encourage activism by being able to easily contact politicians about problems, especially recent ones that have caused more citizens to be more active in the community. Sorry. And many of those people, ourselves included, don't know about our representatives platform, and when elections are. So our purpose with this app is to help others like ourselves gain knowledge on their representatives and issues and participate in their community. And yeah, sorry. Features we want to add in the future are, features we wanted to add are, we wanted to add representatives of all levels, such as the local, state, and federal. We wanted to provide users, each with the representative's platform, assistance for voting registration, and directions to voting booths.
Well done. Well done, guys. That was great. It's super inspiring to watch young people such as yourselves talk about voting, because a lot of young people don't, and a lot of young people don't vote, and that's why we have the world that we have. Food me. Sorry, Phil. It's true, though. Food me. Come on up here. All right. There you are, sir.
This image may be a familiar sight for anyone who was here during Hurricane Harvey. So empty shelves and long lines at stores. At some locations, there were lines with hundreds of people. As well, food was scarce in many stores. People turned to social media websites as well as local news sites for information, and these are really the only places that people could go to for information about supplies and wait times. But what if there is one central location that people could turn to for information? Introducing FoodMe. FoodMe is a website that helps people find food and supplies when disasters like Hurricane Harvey hits. And now we're going to go through a live demo of the website.
It's okay. I don't think we're. I think we're getting a connection refused here. Yeah. You guys improvise with some screenshots? Yeah, let's just make sure that the internet's working. Internet's working. I think your site is down.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. But why don't you talk us through the website? Describe the website, and we'll send the link around.
Okay, so basically the way the application works is you enter the area code that you're currently in, you enter it into the search bar, and the results that return, there's going to be a list and coordinates of the grocery stores in that area. And so you can choose any grocery store that you want to go to, and it'll display a list of typically essential items that people will want during an emergency, like water, canned goods, stuff like that. And it'll have a list of the current inventory. And when a person goes to that grocery store upon arriving or after leaving the grocery store, they can update that list of inventory items so everybody else can see it who uses the application. And so the next person that goes and clicks on that grocery store, they'll have a currently updated list of what they have that's currently available. And so, yeah, that's basically how it works.
So what impact do we think this will have? So this will impact citizens, stores, and cities. We ultimately want to help people find the food and supplies when there are a natural or there is a disaster. So when you go to a store and you don't find what you have, you're very disappointed. So what we want to do, we want to reduce the wasted time that you have and also save on fuel. For a store, if a store doesn't have what you need, we don't want to have a line that is there that's causing congestion. And we want also the ability for the store to communicate through the app to let you know when there is a supply ready for citizens to come in and get essential foods and supplies. And ultimately, the city will be improved as well. It would help with disaster recovery and preparation. So here's our roadmap. In the first version, we will want to add essential supplies and filtering. So right now we have a limited subset, but we want to add additional things. In the second version, we want to also partner with grocery chains so that we can have more reliable information around what is available at the store. And then lastly, we want to expand to other cities so that we can fulfill our goal of helping people find food and supplies whenever there is a disaster. And here is a preview.
Hi. So our website actually functioned in a way that you could indicate what was available at the store. So you can go and say, H-E-B Bunker Hill, they have water, bread, canned goods, and batteries, right? The next person that comes and takes a look at the specific store will be able to see what's available, what's been reported that's out, and make a judgment, should I go to that one or not? What we want to implement in the future is that we also want to add wait times. So in a case like Harvey, you don't really want to be spending 2 hours in line at H-E-B if they don't have what you need. So if you can see right here, this is kind of a mock-up of our future version of our application. You can see that it shows there's milk, eggs, toilet paper in stock. There's an approximate 30-minute wait, which is user reported. And then we would like to add the implementation of filtering. I want milk within 5 miles with this wait period, so you can actually make a decision of where you should be heading to. In the future, we want to, like Bernard said, we want to partner with the grocery store itself. So the grocery store can actually give you, bona fide information about what's available, wait times, and kind of reduce the panic at their location as well. Okay, and that's it. So the website, this one. I think,
There it is.
Hey, okay. So, yeah, report. If you would like to see, you can take a look at Kroger right here. We can see food in stock at the moment. I can then report what's, not in stock. So they're out of milk, they're out of cereal, and someone got all the pizza. And then they're out of stock. And so the next person that comes to take a look at that store in specific will be able to see, no pizza, I'm going to HEB instead. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
That is great.
I was one of those people that went to every grocery store to get water, and it was all gone. Had to go to Buc-ee's. It's true. All right. Up next, we have Rescue_Hub. Am I pronouncing that right? No? Rescue Hub. Come on up here. I'm very literal. All right. Hey, I know these people.
Hello, everyone. Our team, which includes Juan, Kenya, and Abel, and me, Karsh, we built Rescue Hub. Now, we're trying to optimize rescues during floods. The primary reason for this is, did you know that every day the Houston 911 helpline receives 8,000 calls? That's the average. During Harvey, the peak number of calls every day was about 80,000. And that's 10 times the number of normal daily calls. Not only are so many more calls being received, there are also a less number of first responders who can actually help all the number of people who need help. And there are people like you and me in the community who also want to help and who don't know how to help people because people are only calling 911 and not really posting anywhere else that they need help. What we've built is an open tool, is what we call it, which groups and clusters rescuees who need help, rescuees in the same area, and that optimizes rescue efficiency and overall rescue operations. Now we have Kenya explaining how it works.
Hi. So we basically developed a tool that is focused or it's targeting two sectors of people. The person that needs help will have a form to fill, and then that form they could, can we do the demo? That's at the end. Yeah, in that form they will put their location, their cell phone number, and that's gonna allow us to know to cluster them based on how close to each other they are. And then there is a second component of our app, and it's the people that wants to help. So we're basically doing a clustering technique, and we're deciding on the amount of clusters based on me as the person who wants to provide the help. How many people can I help? Like in my car, I can fit 4 people. Then I will just go ahead, select, yeah, I can help 4 people, and it will display just on a clustering how many people, cluster of 4 people, which of the people are closer to me. So it's going to be more efficient to me as a rescuer to help everybody. And then once the person that needed help is rescued, they could send a text message saying, I'm safe, and they will be removed from our database.
First of all, for the future, some of the features we are looking to add is adding a detailed emergency prioritization. It'll give the rescuers a list of who has the bigger emergency. The next thing we'll be also adding is rescuer geolocation, very detailed, so they could give them, the rescuer, detailed mapping and routes to arrive to the locations properly. And finally, the last thing we also want to add is a text message implementation of, instead of going to the website, they could dial a number and it would set everything up. Kind of just like the web form itself, but doing it through text in an easier format for the rescuee. That's all we have. Thank you.
That was awesome. Let's get you guys in front of the... Here, I'll get this. Call it Rescue Hub. There we go. All right. Another round for Rescue Hub. All right. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. So it looks like we've got through 8. We've got another 10 to go. Couple of housekeeping tips. If you don't know where the bathrooms are, there's bathrooms over here. There's bathrooms around the corner there. Speak into the microphone. It's a big room. We want to be able to hear you. And up next, we have Hugh FAQ. Am I saying that right? HUFAC. So I used to say FAC, and then people were like, no, it's FAQ. It's GIF. No, it's not.
Hi everyone. Houston, the city we all call home, has been there for us for emergency and non-emergency situations. Today we'll be focusing only on the non-emergency helpline, the 311 helpline. It receives about 1.5 million calls per year and has 50 dedicated agents solving our questions day in and day out. During Harvey, the call volume increased by about 130%, owing much to, like Rescue Hub mentioned, because the call times for 911 were all backed up. Now, in this day and age of mobile and web all around us, the city needs better access to its citizens through web and also incorporate our feedback into their resources available. Let me walk you through an example, an example issue that we face very frequently in the 311 service center. Say you get a driving violation and you are asked to be redirected to this website to access the information, but that website link doesn't work, not found. Now this will invariably lead to you calling 311 back, which is one of the issues that we are trying to solve. The other issues that we are trying to solve is improve better scalability, integrate citizen feedback, and how we are going to do it is by making sure that you and I can get access to the website so that we can improve the feedback and create a transparent and trustworthy solution. Marcel will now walk us through the demo.
Thank you, Radhika. So here we have the front page for our application, HUFAC. The idea is we're going to deload the knowledge base that's the operators use when they get a call and provide all that information for the city of Houston, so it'd be easier to search and be able to look up frequently asked questions, hence the FAQ. So here we'd have right in the middle, how can we help you, where you would search in frequently asked questions such as driver questions and what other maybe frequent concerns. And we'd also have here at the bottom maybe popular ones that we would have as well, similar searches to what you have. The implementation that we did for this is screenshots of our application, and we would have, for example, a search box, like we said, and then this would be an example of the results. So the answers that we pulled are actually straight from the knowledge database that the operators have, like I mentioned earlier. And so, for example, let's say you wanted to search utilities, something that we were all affected by when the hurricane came, for examples, and people needed to know what resources to call and message for when they needed to get help with the utilities. So you would search up utilities, something frequently asked, and then we would pull up the answers. And then the idea with this is that we wanted to source it to the consumers and the users. So the people who are using it, we wanted them to be able to pull up the answers themselves, and let's say some of the information that we pulled wasn't accurate, or maybe numbers have changed. We're an ever-growing city, and things are always changing rapidly, so we want to be able to keep it up to date, and that's where the crowdsourcing would come in, and people would be able to submit submissions and revisions to the questions. Next, I'm going to hand it over back to Radhika to be able to talk about our feature improvements.
All that we just mentioned will result into saving every call by saving 23 seconds in every call and an estimated savings of about $750K over a period of 3 years. And this is basically a better solution
which results into higher customer satisfaction. And we have a few next steps listed. Of course, it'll involve better intuitive searches. You'll be able to rate answers. You'll also be able to edit the wiki. It will be as simple as going in and editing information, which then will go to one of our government representatives to approve. And this will increase the transparency for you to be able to access the information and, of course, track your requests all in one place. Thank you.
Did a great job. Thank you. That was awesome. That was great. I love it when we crowdsource stuff from Houstonians, like the adopted drain names. That was awesome. Stormy Dranules. Up next, we have, I can't print that, Project TLAP. Is that right? Project TLAP? Project hyphen TLAP. Okay. Sorry.
This is a big team. Every year, 15,000 prisoners gets released to real life without any plan for future, and they end up being homeless. I'll repeat that. Every year, 15,000 prisoners gets released to real life without any plans, and they get on the way to homelessness. A little background to this. Last year, we were working on a project to understand why certain people stay in homelessness for this long time and why they are not able to come out to live a normal life. Out of this project, we had certain learnings. Learnings on different phases of homelessness, how people enter into homelessness, where they stay homeless, and then where they find out the way out. Are there any people who are able to find out way out, or are they not able to? One of the things or learning that came out very clearly was people with criminal background. As I mentioned again, 10 to 15K prisoners per year are moved to homelessness because they do not have any plan or any support, and they just stay on the roads. So where are the gaps? People need to have a stable housing and job stability to live a normal life. But with the problems like criminal records, finding jobs is difficult. Short-term or long-term housing is difficult. Medical facility or having taking care of dependents, that is a difficulty. The answer is Project TLAB. Project TLAB stands for Transitioning into Life from Prison. We have focused on 3 of the personas where people have spent less than 6 months, more than 6 months, and single mothers with infants. With these 3 personas have different requirements. People with less than 6 months, they also are pushed back with no social security benefits, so they need help in housing, short-term housing. People who are staying on for a long time, they need help with skill maintenance or getting references and getting into a community and society. Mothers with infant, they have special requirements. And so we have created another category for them. The Project TLAB is targeted towards creating a community and understanding the needs of prisoners well ahead before they get onto the road. Let's go to the demo, and for the next screens, I will give it to Sean to explain what we have done as part of this project in this hackathon.
Hi, so I'm going to step through this very quickly. I'm afraid we don't really have a very full end-to-end demo here. The basic goal of, we spent a lot of the time really working on trying to decide what the actual scope for the project should be and what kind of made sense in terms of the problem set. And what we ultimately arrived at was that what was what was going to be necessary was basically a tool to connect the prisoners with the actual resources that are available to them. And so at this point, what we have is a very stripped down way to configure questionnaires for use with for basically quizzing a prisoner or an inmate that's being released, and trying on the basis of those results, showing them the kinds of things that are going to be accessible to them. So this is really just shows the overall structure that would be taken with that. And so basically the way we would approach this, we decided that we would focus primarily on a web app because we wanted to try and focus on something that would be as simple as possible and accessible from a wide variety of technical platforms. And the overall structure will be it will be a configurable questionnaire system. The longer term goal here would be to structure this to be something where any given organization could configure the list of resources associated with different kinds of categories relevant to housing, dependent care, and so forth, and would effectively be able to create their own customizable workflow for working with people who are being released and helping process them and connect them to the kinds of resources they would need. In tandem with that, we would also want to save that result into an account for that user. The overall technology base is very simple. It's just a very basic Rails backend system and a very light sprinkling of JavaScript. From here, we want to take a step back to kind of extract the technical requirements we kind of developed over the course of this, and then take a little bit more of a streamlined approach in terms of our design.
So this application just understands the need of prisoners before they get released onto the real world, and let the prison authorities to take steps to help them, like creating their documents, helping them with a job, or not letting them at least to sleep overnight once they get released. And this is a printable version. They can take, prisoners can take the information in their hand and they can keep them with them for future purposes. I just want to introduce the team. Worked on Sean, Simant, Tariq, and Krista, Ruth, Chad, and Rava. Thank you so much.
That was really great. Thank you all so much. Sean came all the way in from New Orleans for this. Houstonian on loan to New Orleans. All right. Up next, we have food insecurity among college students. FIACS. Food insecurity among college students. All right. How about a round of applause? Okay. Very cool. I like your shirt.
Thank you. All right, hey guys, I'm Annie. This is Uche, Lisa, and Tyler. And go ahead. Our project is on food insecurity among college students. Okay, so in terms of definitions, the definition of food insecurity, according to Sarah Goldrick Robb, is basically that, you got it? Okay. Basically, food insecurity is the limited or uncertain availability of nutritionally adequate and safe foods, or the ability to acquire such foods in a socially acceptable manner. Problems with that include, financial aid. It's limited. It doesn't really help students much in terms of housing and food expenses. Students usually, when they're enrolled in school, they don't use FAFSA. They don't understand how it works. They're unable to, they don't have help with the process, so they end up not getting financial aid, and they usually have to pay for school out of pocket. Undergraduates without kids, have to work at least 20 hours a week to qualify for SNAP or other food stamp benefits, and that's an issue considering if you're a full-time or even a part-time student, that takes away your ability to study and focus in school. There is definitely a risk for academic failure and dropout. As a food insecure student, your focus is on trying to make sure you meet rent. You're trying to study. You're trying to balance your work and academic life, and that leaves little room for your actual physical health as far as food goes. So here's a little graphic of data that we pulled from the Hope Wisconsin lab. If you look at the bracketed charts, so students in a 2-year institution, a 2-year community college, they are at a 42% of food insecure. 42% of community college students are food insecure, meaning they are unable to have access to adequate and nutritious foods. And for that statistic, for traditional 4-year college students, university students, that's a statistic of 36%. This is basically just a survey, a model of what a survey looks like to find data on food insecure students. So example questions are I couldn't afford to eat a balanced meal. Did you ever cut out the size of your meals or skip meals because there wasn't enough money for food, and so on and so forth. The bracketed ones are little things that researchers definitely focus on. The racial breakdown of students who are food insecure, whether or not they're full-time or part-time student, and whether or not they are on campus or off campus. And as you can see, the majority of the time, on-campus students are actually more food insecure. Full-time students are actually more insecure than part-time students, and so on. So here's the list of programs in Houston that for undergraduate colleges that actually either partake on campus-based food pantries or are use food scholarships or other assistant programs. Unfortunately, a lot of our 4-year colleges do not, with the exception of University of Houston, Texas Women's University, and so on. However, a lot of community colleges do, which is great. And some solutions make data more publicly accessible. The data we could find specifically for Houston only focused on gender and racial diversity. It didn't provide any data on student income. We proposed that data needs to be publicly accessible. So third-party organizations like the Houston Food Bank can actually propose viable solutions. We actually also propose work-study collaborations, have student organizations help build an agricultural garden on campus to help create a fresher and more nutritious food pantry, and then also create a marketing strategy. And maybe one of the reasons why students don't utilize food pantries on campus, or they don't think there is one, is because they're not advertising well enough. And that's about it.
You know what was not food insecure was this hackathon. We had some awesome food. New York Bagel, Jason's Deli. Freebirds did their first ever breakfast catering order in Houston for our hackathon. And of course, Russo's Pizza and all sorts of good stuff from Costco. So anybody who's food insecure should just come to the hackathon. Solved. All right, up next we have Improve.world. Improve World. All right, come on up. Oh, right, okay. So did you want me to take this HDMI and plug it into yours?
No, you can just
open Chrome.
But I have the link on the website, so we'll
okay.
Copy
So let's
this
copy
right
here.
there.
You take this. Take this. Like this. This.
Okay. Okay, when does the clock start? Now. All right. So, this is a Project Improve.world. What Project Improve.world wants to do is help people collaborate to ideate, design, develop, implement, evaluate, and scale projects implementing high-impact solutions to problems worldwide. Now, how can this benefit you guys? Well, you guys all have problems that you have here that you're here to talk about. Why don't you get on this platform, post your projects, get critical feedback from other people, be able to network with others who may be willing to contribute to developing on your project at all times throughout the year, possibly network with people wanting to add funding. Maybe this could be used with the Houston Exponential. We get all the ideas together from all these creative groups all around Houston, all in one spot. We can create a network on here, a sectioned off partition, which will be isolated so that if somebody goes to the Houston Exponential page, it will be whatever's Houston related, instead of just it being globally. So the idea behind this is help each other at all times build our projects and make impact happen. We want to go through and systematically allow you to go in, make it easy for you to discuss problems that are out there in the world, list potential solutions to those problems, discuss the evaluation criteria, try to figure out which solutions happen to be more effective in certain areas than others, figure out how to scale those solutions up, and actually go build your projects around implementing those solutions, and try to make sure that whenever you're trying to make a difference, that you know you are, because you're tracking what you're doing and comparing it to other options for whatever it is that you care about. You want to make sure you're having an impact. And this is for everybody to work together to make sure that happens. That's it.
Thanks, Earl. You guys did a good job. Well done. All right. Up next, we have the last straw. The last straw, paging the last straw. Oh, I love it. Awesome. I know this project. Kind of threw me off because of the water bottle.
I know, it's not a straw.
Do you need any help setting up?
I want to get to the website.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do the website?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and begin.
Oh, you wait until she loads it up.
Okay. There we go.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth. My hackathon teammates include Harini, Ami, Susan, Eddie, and Ryan. I would like to personally thank them for their hard work, dedication, and commitment to protect human health and environmental resources for today and generations to come. Today, Harini and I present to you The Last Straw. The Last Straw is a website to help customers find restaurants in Houston that consume less single-use plastic. Just like the name sounds, single-use plastic, aka SUP, aka SUP, is designed with one use in mind. Straws, clamshell containers, to-go containers, plastic bags, and beverage containers are the largest sources of local restaurant single-use plastic. They are consumed one time, and then they are discarded. Plastic pollution is a public health hazard. The problem is global and overwhelming. However, The Last Straw attempts to reduce our local contribution, thus protecting our food resources and human health. Last month, Forbes reported a 6-ton, 33-foot-long sperm whale washed up on the shore of Spain. The endangered whale died from 64 pounds of plastic found in its body, including bags, nets, ropes, and food containers. This is the canary in the coal mine.
National Geographic just recently revealed a $10 million partnership with Sky Media to help eradicate ocean plastic. It's time for Houston to act. The Last Straw provides the platform to act on persistent, toxic, deadly single-use plastic pollution.
Okay, The Last Straw is live on the web. It's an MVP, so it's the most basic form of this website, and it uses a rating approach to direct customers to clean restaurants and allows both customers and restaurant owners the ability to rate restaurants on their SUP consumption. Obviously, clean restaurants will consume less. Customers will be able to consult the map, displaying color-coded ratings for SUP. Each pin represents a restaurant and its degree of SUP consumption. Obviously, the green will be the least SUP consumption, leading up to yellow, where you should be more cautious of the restaurant, and red, which uses the most SUP. The data to fuel The Last Straw was collected over the past year by Houston Sierra Club members. They ate in local restaurants and engaged with waitstaff, managers, owners about the concept of SUP and why it is a problem. Volunteers used a Google form to check all the SUP items that applied to their experience, as well as the restaurant, whether the restaurant was composting, recycling, and offering reusable, washable alternatives. And you can see the survey that they used.
Okay, where to go from here? Quickly, we need to collect more accurate and precise data by incentivizing customers, perhaps gamifying a mobile app. We need to integrate data into the map on the website app and add search features. We need to facilitate interaction between customer and restaurant management to advocate for the reduction of single-use plastic. Thank you for listening to The Last Straw.
That was really great. I love that project. I can say that because I'm not a judge. All right, we're coming into the home stretch here, and we're getting to some really heavy stuff. I'm excited to see this one. Texas campaign contributions and craft beer. As craft beer?
All of the above. Awesome, thank you. Hey everyone. Happy American Craft Beer Week. It's fitting that today's the last day of that national holiday celebrating independent craft breweries around the country. And our team focused on something a little closer to home. We focused on Texas state campaign finance and how that impacts the craft beer industry. They're more related than you might think. So, inspiration, the last Texas legislative session, I think, taught everybody in the craft beer industry that people need to be more active in advocating for policies that are going to help Texas be more representative of the industries that people care about, and nudge our elected officials to vote for things that people really care about small business growth and about industries that are near and dear to a lot of our hearts. So, a couple background pieces here. Craft beer in Texas is a huge industry. It contributes to job growth. It contributes to happiness and just a lot of different things that the industry does to support people in Texas. However, there's a lot of pretty restrictive policies. Last session, Texas was one of only 2 states that does not allow beer-to-go sales from breweries, so you can't walk into a brewery and buy a 6-pack to go under a normal brewery license. Alabama was our friend in that until they took a step forward, and so Texas is now the only state in the country that doesn't allow things like that. And so it's something very top of mind. It's important to Houston, too. There's a lot of breweries in Houston that are really stepping up. This quote here from Brock at St. Arnold, he's been very active in pushing for more progressive legislation that's going to help the industry grow and help people around the state enjoy craft beer and see that industry grow and contribute to job growth and other benefits. So our project objective here was to create a way
for not only people interested in craft beer, but also any industry basically to access Texas Ethics Commission campaign finance data more easily. And so it's a very large, very hairy data set, and our goal was to create something that was going to allow anybody to look at campaign contribution data more easily. And that's important for beer specifically because small brewers are trying to look at campaign contributions that are coming from large beer wholesalers compared to how elected officials are voting for beer positive legislation. So here's our team. We worked pretty hard. We also played a little bit hard. We got some support from local breweries to work on this project, and we're hoping to continue after this hackathon. But what we were able to contribute during this process, we explored the data in a couple different ways. We used an MS SQL and PostgreSQL data solution to chop and slice and dice the data. And then we used Tableau to visualize it in a couple different ways that we're going to be able to take back to organizations like the Texas Tribune and the Texas Craft Brewers Guild so that they can look at the data that's going to help inform their lobbying strategy. And so just quickly walk through this here. This matrix here shows a breakdown of beer-interested campaign contributors and legislators in the House. And so we're looking at how much money these legislators have received from these interested parties and what their voting proceeds to be, regardless of what their constituents are asking for in their districts. We also slice the data by year so that we can start to see comparatively over the last couple of years, you know, where those contributions starting to pile up in 2018 going into the 2019 legislative session. So we have a bunch of different ways that we've broken down the data, really interesting ways that we're really excited to take back to the organizations that are eager and hungry for this data. So next steps. Basically, we're going to go back to the Texas Ethics Commission and work with them to continue to refine the analyses and data products that we put together. And we're going to take this to the interested parties, work with the Tribune to create some, hopefully some content and investigative journalism that can help uncover the discrepancies between campaign contributions and what the public is asking for as far as craft beer is concerned. So cheers. If you guys want a beer, come grab one after the presentations.
That was great. And two of those team members, Gabriella and Selene, came in from Austin. So Houston is where things get done. They did. They brought beer, as any good guest would, right? Okay, up next, we have hazardous environmental events map. All right. How about a round of applause while they come up here? I'm going to clap y'all out. All right. Are you leading?
Thank you.
All right. Can you hear me? Okay. So, how polluted would you say Houston is? Very. A vote for very. So, in 2008, Houston was actually ranked as the most polluted major city in the United States, nearly tied with LA. LA had more pollution from traffic. Houston had more from industry, like all of our refineries. So obviously, the oil industry in Houston brings a lot of business and commerce, especially up the ship channel, but it also brings a lot of pollution, including carbon emissions, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, and these contribute to a number of dangerous health conditions. So there's 45 major air monitors in Houston that monitor ozone and a number of carcinogens. But we wanted to see if we could capture more information about environmental hazards in the Houston area. And as far as we know, nobody has been capturing information from social media about like acute environmental hazard events, like when somebody posts about a random flaring event that's happening from a refinery near their home, or flooding event, smog, bad odors, things like this that are fairly common in the ship channel area. So we wanted to see if we could take advantage of social media and get more information out to the public, aggregated in one way.
So the idea of this map is that you should know when an environmentally hazardous event has happened. And more importantly, you should know where it has happened in relation to where you're at, right? And how long or the continual ongoing that event. So the time span where maybe there is an air pollution event. You know, maybe it'll last a couple hours, maybe a few days, depending, you know, on what's occurred. So this idea has kind of come from the One Breath Partnership, which is a collective of advocacy organizations for public health and universities. Again, it is to alert the public. We're not, you know, waiting on news. We're trying to give you a system of alerts that say, okay, there's been a refinery explosion and it's 2 blocks away from you. Okay, you need to know that information and you need to know it as fast as possible. All right.
So our final product ended up being a website with a map that specifies all the different locations of the pollution. Each location is a refinery or a chemical processing plant, and if you click on them, they'll give you detailed lists of all of the different incidents that they reported, and if you can expand it further to get a very detailed information. And we intended to incorporate Twitter and Facebook posts to give a live feed of people's responses, but due to limitations of Twitter and Facebook, we weren't able to get responses for these since they weren't as recent as we had hoped. But in the future, we hope to incorporate people's responses from a certain area. So around each of these points, we would try and collect Twitter posts, Facebook posts, pictures, videos to give people insight into what is happening. And we just did simple scripts in Python to access all of this information is from TCEQ, and we just use simple scripts to get that and location data.
Yeah, so the basic front-end part of the application is done with regular HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and jQuery. The back-end part is a simple Node application, and we both worked on the front-end part, so that's about it. Lots of troubleshooting, lots of work. The part where we could have improved is work. Maybe we could have implemented more time in design on the front end part, but that's our future edition. So,
but it works.
But it works.
And there's at least like 4 other people that helped us quite a bit that aren't standing up here right now. So it was a big team effort and a big experiment.
And shout out to Amanda, wherever you're at. You are a rock star. Thank you.
Yes, she is. Thank you so much. Double shout out to Amanda because the mayor gave her a shout out too. Double shout out to Amanda because the mayor gave her a shout out when he was talking about report your hours and how that resulted in $5 million extra of reimbursements, and Amanda built that site as well. Pretty much, if something is awesome, Amanda probably had something to do with it. All right, Houston hired. I can pronounce that one. Houston hired. All right. Every team is like all the furthest in the back. That's my fault. Load this guy up for you here.
Thank you.
Presentation mode. All right.
whenever you're ready. Okay. Hi guys. We are Houston Hired, and we are a proposal to help people who are in transition houses get employed and preventing them to go back into homelessness. So currently, Houston taxpayers pay about $131 million per year on homelessness, and we don't have a primary vehicle to get them back into housing. So a lot of these homeless people have to go back to these transitional houses. And in Houston, a transitional house is about 12 months long that provides education and experience to be self-sufficient. However, without a job, though, they usually go back into homelessness, and that's causing an issue. So current solutions right now are the Coalition for the Homeless. They support the homeless in terms of getting them income, but what they do instead is they push the homeless into a staffing agency called Workforce Solutions. And what Workforce Solutions does is that they put them alongside the general public. So they're kind of competing for jobs where it's not focused on the homeless people. So what we propose is a supportive work program where there is a low to no barrier experience for Houston's homeless. And we plan to partner up with Healthcare for the Homeless in Houston. They have this program called Project Access, and what Project Access does is provide free transportation for the homeless to any facility or any type of facility that wants to help out the homeless. And Megan here will talk about our long-term savings.
As a result of that, we anticipate long-term savings by decreasing crime response costs, reliance on shelters and food pantries, and emergency room visits. So for our program model, we are actually modeling after a program that existed in Denver called Denver Dayworks. And this employed roughly 331 homeless at the time. Of those 122 of them found permanent employment. Out of that, 15 of them found permanent housing. So the way that it would work, we would go through an initial assessment for job readiness. For those that were not job ready, we would connect them with additional resources. For those of them that are job ready, we would connect with them some of the partners that we had established that are willing to participate in the program. Some of the, I guess, nuances of the program is they would have the option of working a full or half day. We initially wouldn't do background checks because it's actually illegal to be homeless here in Houston. So background checks would be conducted if they were offered maybe a permanent solution. Additionally, they would be paid at the end of each of their workday to incentivize return, as well as a lot of them are unbanked and do not have addresses. So for our timeline, we anticipate completing our proposal. So ours is more a proposal or grant for the city. So Q2 we'll finish our proposal. Then we'll take a look at procuring partnerships. Then we will start recruiting, assessing the participants, and then we hope to have participants earning income as early as Q1 of 2019. So our ask. We are asking the City of Houston for $662,000 to fund a pilot program for 2 years, enrolling about 300 individuals. In total, we crunched some numbers. We think that the number of homeless that are in transitional housing right now is roughly 1,300. And why we've targeted this group specifically is, I think we had mentioned earlier, a lot of times just giving them a home itself doesn't prevent homelessness. If you don't give them a job as well, it won't be sustainable. The way that our budget is broken down is personnel. So that'd be your administrative costs. Participant wages would be the wages to the individuals participating, and then our program costs would include like transportation, food, uniforms for work, and things like that. So. Thank you for your time.
That was awesome. Okay, we're in the home stretch. I said that once before, but it's still true. I get to disregard the submission. We have one other submission, but let me just load up real quick one more link here. All right. So up next we have Shelter Helper. Shelter Helper. All right. Well, you're the timekeeper, so you can keep your own time. Okay. You guys will be good. Yeah. Awesome.
Swell. Alrighty, so we are from Klein Collins High School, and we built Shelter Helper. This web app stands to redistribute volunteers, also, what is the name? Supplies, and displaced persons between different shelters. So my mom and my family wanted to donate some blankets to the nearest shelter during Hurricane Harvey. So we decided to go there, and turns out they had too many blankets already and too many volunteers already, when perhaps shelters elsewhere could have used our help. So in terms of managing a shelter, somebody could, or a volunteer in that shelter could say, okay, we're kind of running low on shoes, we're running low on blankets, or we need less people here because we don't have enough shoes, or we don't have enough blankets. And so when you go to volunteer somewhere, or to donate, or add some supplies to their inventory, then you will see a list of different options, different shelters near you, so that you know which one to choose to donate to, because all the stats and all their inventory will be displayed nicely. So here is Hassan talking about our future ideas.
Okay, so for a future, what we wanted to do is we wanted to connect different shelters together, so that if one shelter has too many blankets, they can be like, hey, this other shelter, donate to them because they don't have enough blankets. Or if they have too many people, you could be like, hey, go there instead. And like, what we also wanted to do is we wanted to make it so that there were shelters that could specialize in what they need. So if there was like a shelter for kids, they could be like, hey, we need more toys. Oh, and what we learned, so since this was our first website that we've ever made, basically, we didn't get too much progress in it, but this was a learning experience. So we did learn React, we learned MongoDB, what else was there? And we learned Node-REST and React routes. And scroll down, Sean. Okay, there's basically a list of everything we did. And yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome work. Very timely. Great work. What year are you all in school? Juniors. Amazing. I was not doing this when I was a junior in high school. And last but not least, we have improving medicine via computer simulations. All right. This was definitely an interesting one. Well, they're all interesting ones, but this was a very interesting one. I say that when I don't understand what that means.
Hello. I'm Dr. Sergey Sargasov. But first of all, I just want to say, Houston, we are big on medicine, right? And who here is working for something that is entailing improving medicine, the health field industry? Anyone? Raise hands. I'm trying to help the medical field industry. Okay, so our project that is entitled Improving Medicine Via Computer Simulations. So we'll begin shortly.
Present, not share. There we go.
All right, so improving medicine via computer simulations. Here are the hackathonians, our hackathonian team. Some here, some not, of course. So prior work. Myself, I had developed an algorithm when I was defending that finds parameters from multiple mutants when bacteria is evolving in time. And I had an algorithm that modeled the evolution of the bacteria. And I was wondering, well, we were wondering, how can we apply this algorithm to maybe help medicine in Houston? It has not been applied yet. So there's a model that has been already verified for accuracy and using statistical tools, whatnot. And so we're ready to use it. Let's use it. The team, we decided to take this algorithm and improve medicine by altering some things. For example, we're in the model, we're implementing new things. For example, it's MATLAB, mostly MATLAB coded, and what we did is we enticed new medical treatments. So the medical treatments were basically, we're saying, okay, well, some particular strain of mutant that's coming up, and then one can be weak, one can be strong, one can be strongest, one can be the ancestor without the mutant, the bacteria. And we're saying, okay, we're going to make these weaker. The growth rates are going to reduce. So different medicines do different things to different ones. And so that's what we mean by when we say which mutant types and the strength of impact. And so look at some results that we attained. We're just going to share some results.
Thank you. Sergey, the next slide shows the samples that we tried. So each row in this table is a medicine that we're testing. The first row is the control. It has no effect on the growth rate of any mutant. And then the second one suppresses growth of the ancestor, but not any mutants. And so on. You can see that some of them suppress particular mutants. And then the second to last one suppresses all mutants, but not the original ancestor. And the last one suppresses all varieties, including the original ancestor.
So continuing with the results from these different medications we applied to, look at this. The black, solid, thick line, that is the control. So basically that is how, the sooner it rises, in a sense, the sooner the line rises, that's when the mutations occur and that's when bacteria evolves. And we don't want it to go too fast because then bacteria is evolving very quickly and we can't fight it with medication. So look at the green one. That's like a bad one. And what's happening there is we're affecting the ancestors. That's the medication that's affecting the ancestors. We're giving it 50% we're weakening it by 50%, 0.5111, but we're not touching any of the mutants. So basically we're weakening, that's what we're expecting. Here we have that. And then look at the bottom line, the one that's horizontal. Actually, it will eventually start rising too, because evolutions will start taking place and bacteria will, evolve and grow and strengthen. But that bottom cyan line or whatnot, that's when we attack all mutations but do not touch the ancestor. And yes, we expect that that's going to be the weakest, as far as the strongest medication and the weakest of bacterial evolution. And then the other lines, they're kind of somewhat mixed around that control group. However, look at the blue line, that's the lowest. That's because what we do is we don't touch anything besides we attack the strongest of the mutants. And yes, we do expect that that's going to weaken the bacterial evolution. All right. And I guess that is it. And we're happy to apply medication. Oh, yeah. So here are the conclusions. And the main thing is what I just said about those medications. But we can now see what? This is meaningful result for what? Taking this algorithm and applying it for medicine. And this is, we kind of are verifying it. At least, so we need some statistical tools still to make it more verification and estimation theory, whatnot. But we can see that, yes, we can apply this algorithm to further medicine in the medical field in Houston. Thank you.
That was good work. Those are your hackathon presentations. How about a round of applause for everybody who presented here? That was Herculean. That was really fantastic. So what's going to happen now? Over the next few minutes, the judges are going to go confer in the judges' sanctum, inner chambers, and they're going to decide who the top 3 teams are, and with an honorable mention. And the top 3 teams are going to get to meet with the mayor a little bit longer than you got to meet with him today in his office. I don't know quite how long it's going to take, so if you are looking to kind of do something with your time, something that you can do is kind of look around at the trash and see what's kind of scattered about and pick it up and put it in a trash bin and help us clean up. The Canon has been awesome to help us here, and thank you all for your patience. We'll be with you in a few minutes.
Once everybody's settled, Jesse's going to announce the winners. I think we're all winners here this weekend. This was a lot of fun. Thank you. Thank you all. I certainly had a lot of fun, and we'll look forward to next year. But even the projects that aren't announced as winners, we hope you'll continue working on these. We'll hope you keep in touch with your teams and other people you've met here, and continue staying involved in the community. But without further ado, I'll give it to Jesse.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank y'all. Everybody here deserves a round of applause. Come on, give yourselves a round of applause. Woohoo! We did really awesome this week. So there are 3 winners. All of those winners are going to present to the mayor in the mayor's office here in a month or so. So without further ado, let's start with the honorable mention first, which is Food Me. Who's Food Me team? All right, Food Me. All right. Right. Yep. Go ahead and if you wouldn't mind just coming up here and staying in the queue. All right. And now for the 3 winners. Can I get a drum roll, please? Drum roll. All right. M4. The Mo Money. What was it? Mo Moen. Oh, excellent. All right, and these are in no particular order. They're all number 1s. So we got M4, Politic, the next winner. Excellent. All right. Good job, teams. All right. And the last winner. Although we're all winners here. So. Hugh FAQ. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you all. And here's Jeff to wrap it up.
Sorry. We have one more special announcement. I'm going to give the microphone here to Emily from WeWork.
Hi, thanks you guys. That was really exciting, and all of the projects were incredibly impressive for such a short period of time. So we thought that that instead of just giving you guys space for a certain period of time, that what we would do is host a weekend boot camp to refine your presentations before you go talk to the mayor, and that's going to be led by Techstars, someone from Techstars, as well as from someone from WeWork Labs in New York, who's our chief digital officer. And so we'll figure out a weekend to do that soon. So when you go in and pitch, can make the sale.
Yes. All right. We're all going to stay here for some photos just for a minute, but I wanted to thank each and every one of you for being here, making this yet another successful Houston Hackathon. I love this. I love all of you. Thank you guys so much for coming.